of fairies and princesses? Then you've come to the right place. Welcome to Disney Coast to Coast.
Hey folks, and welcome to Disney Coast to Coast. I'm Jeff DePaoli.
And I'm Patrick Dougall.
And today we're going to talk to you about our personal top 3 favorite rides that currently exist in the Disney parks today. And I'm kind of curious, Patrick and I haven't really talked about this, so I'm curious to see if we have some similar ones in our lists here. So if you haven't been to a Disney park and you plan on going for the first time, these would be our personal don't miss choices. So pay close attention. Patrick,
yes.
Why don't you start us off with the first one you got? Actually, before you go, is this any specific order you're going in, or is this just kind of?
No, I do have an order from my. Do you want to start from 3?
Sure, start from 3, 2, 1. I personally kind of don't have an order because it's tough enough picking a top 3 for me, so it's nearly impossible to.
Whatever. All right. So, well, there's a backstory to my 3. Definitely when I first went to the Disney parks, especially when I was younger and Animal Kingdom opened, I went on Expedition Everest, which was probably my favorite coaster, but I went on it the first year it opened, and the Yeti was working.
Yes, I am lucky enough to have had that experience as well.
If you experienced Expedition Everest when the Yeti was working, I'm sure it'd be one of your top 3 attractions, too. Not that it isn't now, but it definitely was when that was working.
Yeah, was that attraction open the first time you went to Animal Kingdom?
Yes.
Oh wow! So you didn't go the first?
Oh no! I mean, it was open when I went, but it wasn't my first time at Animal Kingdom.
Gotcha. Yeah, that Yeti. I remember there was a really good documentary about the making of. I think it was about the making of Animal Kingdom overall, but and Mount Everest was a big part of it on Travel Channel or something like that.
Yeah, it's like Modern Marvels or something.
Yeah, one of those. I've got it burned to DVD somewhere, but it was really it was a very good documentary. But one of the cool things that they made like a huge deal about was the Yeti inside that attraction, which is an impressive animatronic figure that they have.
It is one of the largest they've ever built, and this thing would swipe down at your coaster, and then the lighting, and it had animatronics, I mean, like sound effects, and now it's just like frozen strobe light. It's really sad.
Yeah, well, the even when it was working, one of the cool things about it was, I mean, you zipped by it so quickly. It was kind of like one of those, oh my god, what did I just see type things, where it was, you'd keep going back and back just to see it over and over again. And unfortunately, it's been years since it has worked. And
well, as soon as you would like turn that bank into the cavern, they would have a constant light on it, so you'd be able to see it for a good like 5-6 seconds, but now it's like the strobe light effect doesn't go until like you're right under it, so you barely see it for like 2-3 seconds, and you're like, wait, some people miss it completely. I've had friends who've gone on it for the first time. I'm like, did you see the Yeti? And they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm sure that's done on purpose now, simply because it's not moving. They're probably like, well, we don't want to show too much of it, but I mean,
awful.
Can that Yeti really compare to the abominable snowman in the Matterhorn at Disneyland? Come on, really?
No, I'm speechless.
Too funny. So that's your number 3 is Mount Everest at Disney Animal Kingdom.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is what I'm hoping is when Avatar opens, they can actually maybe close Everest, since they have hopefully another e-ticket attraction that people will be busy with, and maybe they'll fix him. But right now I know they'll never fix him because Animal Kingdom is one of the parks with the least rides, and to take one of the biggest rides away would definitely hurt it.
Yeah, I remember Joe Rohde, who was like head Imagineer on Animal Kingdom and Mount Everest. He, at the D23 Expo, at one of the Imagineer conventions or panels, somebody asked him a question about the Yeti, and he was dead set on fixing that thing. Like they're well aware that people want it fixed, and he was saying that it's just super crazy engineering, and it's in the middle of this mountain that they built, and they literally like have to take the top off the mountain and get in there to fix this thing, and it's just it's going to be very time consuming. And as you know, Disney doesn't exactly do things quickly. They really take their time so that hopefully when it's fixed forever or for a very long time. So, I would say it's going to be a good 6 months to fix that thing. And
oh yeah,
at least. So
from what I know about the thing, it's the foundation that it's sitting on is cracking because of the movement it was doing.
Okay.
So they didn't want it to just fall.
They got to make it. I remember, Lord, one time I was at Walt Disney World at Epcot doing one of those backstage tours, standing underneath the tracks of Test Track. And it's literally like built so that the track moves back and forth. So we're standing under this thing, and the columns are kind of like, I don't want to say they're rubber, but they've got some movement in them. So that for that very purpose, if it didn't have any movement, it would crack. So maybe they got to go in and do something like that. Listen to us talking like we have any idea about engineering.
I know, we're Disney Imagineers.
We're like, this is an easy fix. Go put rubber.
You just need to do this and do this, it'll be fine.
Sprinkle a little pixie dust, it'll all be good.
Yeah. But for right now, we have what everyone's nicknamed it is Disco Yeti, because it just has like a disco strobe light on.
So would that really take it off your list, though, from the Yeti working to not working?
No, I think it would make it better, but it's still one of my favorite roller coasters.
Maybe it would be number 2 on your list if the Yeti were working.
Maybe.
Cool. Well, on my list, this might shock some people because it's not like e-ticket like most people would think. But first of all, on my list, I needed an attraction that Walt Disney personally worked on. So, Patrick, can you guess which one I chose? I'm sure it's
Carousel of Progress.
Yeah, the Carousel of Progress is one of my absolute favorites. It is so endearing, and it was created for the 1964 World's Fair, and I just love the smirk on your face that I'm seeing right now, because you're just like, oh, Jeffrey. But come on, how classic is the Carousel of Progress?
I mean, it's cool.
It's great. If you've never been on the Carousel of Progress or even heard of it, it's essentially, well, first of all, I can't believe you're listening to this podcast if you've never heard of the Carousel of Progress. Oh, yeah. But it's this cool, like, there's 4 stages and the theater spins around the stages, and it's a complete animatronic show where they basically take you through the decades of progress and innovations and inventions and stuff. And there's this family that you journey with. It's a cool show with like one of the greatest Sherman Brothers songs ever, The Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow, which is such a great song. I just love the Carousel of Progress, and you love it too.
I mean, I do go on it once in a while just for fun, and it is cool to see probably one of the oldest rides there. So.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, the official name of the attraction is Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress, isn't it?
Probably.
I think so.
I don't know for sure.
I think it says it on the signs just because it's one of the, there's so few attractions that Walt actually worked on still around. And that's one of the great things and sad things about the Disney parks is, he said it himself, it's never going to be finished. And in order for new things to open, old things have to close, unfortunately. And I'm happy that the carousel still exists somewhere. And one of the most genius things about the Carousel of Progress was the fact that the 1964 World's Fair, Walt created 4 attractions. They were Carousel of Progress, the People Mover, the Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, and It's a Small World. And essentially what he got other companies to do is pay to create these attractions. And then when they were done for the World's Fair, he moved them all to Disneyland, which, come on, that's good business right there. That's really smart. And for that reason alone, respect to the Carousel of Progress and those other 3 attractions as well. So that made it onto my list. So how about you? What's your next?
We have Walt Disney World at Magic Kingdom has all 4 of those attractions are from the World's Fair.
Yeah, yes. No, wait. Well, you don't. You have the Hall of Presidents, but you don't have Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln is a Disneyland.
Yeah.
And the Small World that was at the World's Fair, at least the closest version, is in our park. But you guys, of course, do have It's a Small World. Speaking of this, I guess if there was one attraction, so I mentioned how all these attractions keep closing to build new things, but if there was one attraction that you think would be absolute blasphemy to get rid of in a Disney park, like it wouldn't be a Disney park without it, what would it be?
There's two.
What are they?
And one of them is my second.
Oh, okay. Well, good segue. What's your second?
It would be Haunted Mansion.
Okay, Haunted Mansion. Cool. So, yeah, I can agree with that.
But I would say Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay. I actually think, although it's not one of my favorites, I feel like It's a Small World is just so classic Disney that it'd be crazy to get rid of that. But in any case, let's talk about Haunted Mansion. You're number 2.
Yes, it's one of those nostalgia rides that everyone loves the Haunted Mansion. It's so, like, I could literally go on the Haunted Mansion and then go back and ride it again. Specifically, Walt Disney World Haunted Mansion, because I went on Disneyland. Not as fun.
Well, I gotta tell you, though, you've never experienced Haunted Mansion Holiday Out.
I have not. I've experienced online, which is sad, but...
Well, I'll tell you, they plussed the show pretty well this past...
I heard.
It was cool. Like, I had heard from people, oh, there's something new in the stretchy room, but I really didn't research it or know anything about it. And I was in there, I was like, oh, so cool. So they did a really, I actually remember doing Haunted Mansion Holiday for the first time, which at that point it had been around for like 7 or 8 years, but I had never done it. And being really impressed with it. Like, it's a very new attraction when you do it. It's not like this quick little holiday overlay type thing. It's really, really well done.
Yeah, I definitely want to get out there to check it. But I just love, like, there's so much backstory and lore to the Haunted Mansion that you can find in, like, every room and every ghost. I love it.
I agree. I love the Haunted Mansion, but I gotta tell you, my favorite version of the Haunted Mansion that I've done has been Phantom Manor over in Disneyland Paris. It is. Have you heard the musical score to that?
I have not.
You need to get your hands on that. The musical score to Phantom Manor. They still have like the grim grinning ghosts and stuff, but they have these beautiful orchestrations that are really haunting. And the story of the bride and everything is much stronger and clearer, I feel, in Phantom Manor. And the whole ballroom sequence, there's this moment, normally there's tons of ghosts in that ballroom and you've got them dancing and stuff. And I remember this visual from the Paris version that was really kind of chilling, where, it was the same craziness that you're used to seeing, but then at one point, all of the ghosts disappear and all that you see is the bride on the staircase. And it was like just this really beautiful haunting image. And I don't know, I just felt like it was better storytelling there. And I loved the musical score.
Speaking of Haunted Mansion and your previous Carousel of Progress, do you know the correlation between the two?
Let me think. Between Carousel of Progress and the Haunted Mansion. No, what?
Okay, so in the ballroom scene, you can actually see the ghost of the grandma from Carousel of Progress.
Is she the one in the rocking chair? Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Huh. Is that in all of them? I guess so.
I know it's in ours.
That's so funny. Huh. Did you know that the organ in our Haunted Mansion is from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the film? It's yeah.
That's awesome. So many things. See, the Haunted Mansion is full of secrets.
It's not that so many things. It's called being cheap. It's like, okay, what do we have in our warehouse? We've got a grandma. She could be dead. And we've got an organ sitting here. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't know about the grandmother from Carousel. That could have been your trivia question today.
Oh, well, I have another one.
Okay. Cool. Next on my list, and actually, I don't know if this is on your... Actually, I don't think it is on your list, but Tower of Terror for me. I really love Tower of Terror, and I don't know if I could pick which one I prefer, to be honest. I was thinking about it, and there are things that I like more, and each one has things that I really like. The Hollywood Studios, it opened in 1994 at Walt Disney World, and the pros to that one, I think, it's taller. It's 199 feet versus the one in California Adventure, which is 183 feet. And I just remember I had gone to Walt Disney World for years while the Tower of Terror were there and didn't go on it because when I was younger, like, I there were a lot of rides I was just scared to do. And that was one of them. And then I remember the year I finally, got the gumption to go and do it. And I just got off and went right back on. I was like, this is incredible. But it scared me to death, that moment when you get to the top and the elevator moves forward and you start going through the attic, because I just didn't expect an elevator to move forward. I was like, okay, we're going up and down, and that's it. When it started moving forward, I was just like, oh my God, we're like gonna fall off the track. Like, it scared the crap out of me. And then there's this insane moment where you all of a sudden feel the heat from outside coming into your elevator, and you're like, okay, no more air conditioning. I'm gonna drop really soon. And it scared me so much. So I love that one. I don't know. Do you have a preference between the two?
I have like both. I've been on both of them, and there are some things I like about Disneyland's and Hollywood Studios. I probably prefer Hollywood Studios just because I like the randomization factor.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't do that here. It's very strange to me that they don't do that here, but.
Yeah, but I've noticed, like, the mirror effect on Disneyland is super cool. All the effects are really cool. And I feel like yours goes up faster. It could be me, but I feel like you launch up faster than ours.
That may be true. And also, I don't know, I had mentioned that the Hollywood Studios, the building was 199 feet, and in California it was 183, but I don't know if the drop may be the same actual length. Maybe we go like further into the ground or something. I'm not sure.
It probably is.
But yeah, they have, well, speaking of the Tower of Terror, we can't forget the 1997, I think, TV movie starring Steve Guttenberg and what was her name? Kirsten Dunst. Do you remember?
I'm not gonna lie, that movie scared me so much as a child.
I remember it premiering on, The Wonderful World of Disney Sunday Night Movie. I was very excited about it. And, Michael Eisner did his little introduction, and I love it. I got it on DVD. Not gonna lie, totally own it on DVD. Do you?
I do not.
Oh, man.
But I would love to.
Actually, you want to hear something funny? I was at a theater in Hollywood here. Actually, it was in North Hollywood recently. And it was a small theater. And I look over and there's this woman sitting there. And I was like, oh my Lord, she looks so familiar. Come to find out, it was the woman who played the nanny in that movie. The little girl's nanny.
Yeah.
And not only that, and then I remembered like a few months earlier, I was at a taping of a TV show called Sullivan and Sons, and I was backstage, and she was a guest star on the show that day. So I'm like, wow, she's just following me everywhere. Creepy! But yeah, I love that movie. I love that movie. Okay, what is your number?
Wait.
Okay.
Tower of Terror.
Okay.
I also love our queue better than yours.
What specifically?
That's all I want to say. Our outside queue.
I was going to say the exterior, yeah, I would agree, but the interior I feel is pretty similar.
Yeah, the interior is, except when I went on yours the first time, I was very confused on how there were stairs to go up to like a second level.
Yeah, supposedly you get a further drop if you go to the right side because you're staying on the basement level, whereas on the left side you go up a level. So apparently it's a shorter fall from what I hear. So I always try for the right side. But I like all the little touches with Twilight Zone stories in the queue line. Mm-hmm. Like you can find props and stuff from the Twilight Zones, which I think is pretty cool. And did you know is it Tokyo, I think? Which other park has it? I think it's Tokyo, has a Haunted Mansion, and there's no Twilight Zone references whatsoever. Yeah. I'm sorry, what did I say?
Haunted Mansion.
Sorry, Tower of Terror. But there's no Twilight Zone references because they don't know what the Twilight Zone is over there. And so they've got a very different story to it, which is kind of cool. Hopefully one of these days I'll check it out. Yeah. Okay, cool. So on to your number one. I have a feeling we have a matching number one.
We probably do, but
on three, let's say it.
Wait, mine's not very specific. Okay, I'll say it. Okay.
On 3, 2.
Yes.
Okay, 1, 2.
Indiana Jones.
Okay, Indiana Jones. Yes, that was the worst countdown ever.
I don't know why you went backwards. You said 3, 2, 2, 1, 3. I was like, what are you counting?
We were interrupting each other, and with the Skype delay, it's not very helpful. Indiana Jones. Yes, mine is
But mine is both
Adventure.
Indiana Jones and Dinosaur because it's not specifically the ride, but the ride system.
Okay, fair enough. I'll give you that. Yes, Indiana Jones Adventure. I remember waiting in that 2-hour line. I was vacationing in California at the time, and actually it was such a long line. I think it was the first year it opened that they actually gave us these little cards that had hieroglyphic decoders, so that while you were in line, you could decode all the stuff on the walls. And a lot of them just said exit, I remember, which was disappointing. But it's a great ride system. It was one of those moments where I remember riding it and being like, wow, I've literally never done anything like this. And that's the thing that turns me on more than anything, is when I can say, I've never done anything like this before. So it was cool.
It's just such a visual ride. Like, I love dark rides, and because I like to see all the animatronics and stuff, and this is just, this and Dinosaur. I remember when Dinosaur used to be Countdown to Extinction, and they changed it a little bit, but it used to be a lot scarier than it is now.
Same with Indiana Jones. I remember that it used to be a much rougher ride, and people were complaining about whiplash and whatever, and they toned it down a bit. But it was one of those, those earlier rides that had several different versions where, they tried to change up the storyline a bit because they realized people repeat guests. And so they have different entrances and different effects that go off at moments. And yeah, it was a great ride system. And now you, I believe, had mentioned to me in the past that you've done Indiana Jones Adventure many times, but never had the boulder room work correctly for you. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. That's disappointing to hear. Because it's one of the better effects in the attraction. And I remember the first time I did it, here's what happens. So you're basically in that boulder room. It feels like your vehicle is backing up and the boulder's coming toward you. But I was thinking to myself, while on the ride one day, I'm like, wait a sec, that's not, like, how can we be backing up? We'd screw up every vehicle behind us in this attraction. So I decided to look into it, and come to find out, this effect was created one day when Imagineer was in a car wash. And I don't know if they have car washes like this in Florida. I know it's not very common in Massachusetts, but in our car washes here in California, a lot of them, your vehicle stays where it is, and the machine moves around your car. Are your car washes like that?
No.
Or it's usually like a drive-through system?
Yeah.
For you? Okay. So for ours, the vehicle stays in place and the machines move around you. So while you're parked there and these machines are moving around you, a lot of times it feels like you're actually moving forward just because you're seeing like the walls move. And Imagineer saw this and was like, wow, this is how we're going to do the boulder room. So if you actually look over the side of your ride vehicle, you will see that your car isn't moving. It's just like rumbling in place. And the walls are moving forward, which makes it feels like your vehicle is backing up and the boulder is moving slightly forward. So it's a really, really, really cool effect that I hope that you get to experience one of these days. It's a really good effect.
Me too, because apparently Disneyland doesn't agree on closing rides when things don't work. So I kid you not, the first time I went on this ride, we got to the boulder room, and there's like an Imagineer, someone with a maintenance guy on the ride while the ride's still going by the boulder with like a flashlight looking at stuff. And I was like, oh, there's a man.
Well, Indiana Jones is an attraction at Disneyland that I would say, I think probably every time I'm there, which is a lot, it's broken down at some point during the day. Like, it's broken down a lot.
Which is so weird, because I know whenever I go to Animal Kingdom, I ride Dinosaur because it's my favorite ride. And I don't think I've seen it broken like a couple times, but it doesn't break on a daily basis.
It's because you don't have a boulder. Plus, you got to remember, a lot of times what happens with these attractions, Indiana Jones was created first, and so they learned their errors. And then when they created Countdown to Extinction, they fixed it. Very similar to how your test track used to break down all the time. But from what I understand, Radiator Springs Racers is doing pretty well. So they learned from their errors and fixed them second time around, which is a good thing. One of the other cool things that I like about Indiana Jones in the parks in general is I do not like copycat attractions. So I really appreciate the fact that We have the Indiana Jones Adventure at Disneyland. We have the Epic Stunt Spectacular at Walt Disney World. We have the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Peril at Paris, which is very similar to the Indiana Jones Adventure at Disneyland, but still different. And then the Temple of the Crystal Skull in Tokyo, which is basically a roller coaster. So I just appreciate the fact that they've taken this franchise and instead of copycatting it everywhere, it's a very different experience in each of the Disney parks, which I love personally.
The Temple of the Crystal Skull is exactly like yours.
Except for they have a tornado, don't they?
Yeah. But it's the same ride system, but it's a whole different story. So it's not the like exact same.
Yeah, but overall, I think they've done a nice. I love the Stunt Spectacular at the Hollywood Studios. Like, even though it's been there since day one, they've definitely abridged it. I feel like every time I go, it's a little bit shorter. And I remember going. I probably went to at the time MGM Studios when it first opened, and thinking to myself, "Why are you shaking your head at that?"
Oh, no, I'm just looking at it.
Okay, I thought you were like, no. I'm like, yeah, it was the Disney MGM Studios. I remember thinking, how long is this going to last? Like, they're going to have to change this show. But, how many years later now? And it's still going. The Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. Woohoo! Yay. So those are our top lists. So repeat, I had Carousel of Progress, Tower of Terror, and the Indiana Jones Adventure.
Expedition Everest, Haunted Mansion, and Indiana Jones / Dinosaur.
So, if you're going to a Disney park for the first time, do not miss any of those attractions. Agreed?
Agree. So that means go to Animal Kingdom for mine.
Go to
kind of 2 out of 3.
Yeah, it's true. Wow, isn't that interesting? I would never think in a million years, like, you've got to go to Animal Kingdom. Because, to be honest, if someone was like, I only have time for 3 parks, which one should I miss? I'd probably be like, Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom.
Oh, man, crazy. So I think it's trivia time. So,
yes.
Patrick, would you like me to ask you first, or do you want to ask me?
I'll ask first this time.
Okay.
This is not a very proper trivia question.
What does that mean?
It's just like, hey, do you know what the most expensive restaurant in Disney World property is?
Oh,
it's at a resort.
I was gonna say, I would guess it's at the Grand Floridian. Am I right there?
You would be correct.
Okay, I don't know any of the names of the restaurants there, so I'm gonna call it the Grand Floridian Restaurant.
You are correct. Ding, ding, ding.
Is that what it's called?
No.
Oh, I was going to say, what? Really? They dropped the ball on that one. What is the name of it?
It is called Victorian Albert's. It's a personalized restaurant where you do it you have to reserve it in advance, obviously, because they print your menus with your names on it and everything.
Ooh. How nice.
It's very fancy. It's like a 3-course dinner. And it comes out to like around $200 a person.
Okay, well, I'm booking that reservation today, so get ready for, what was it called?
Victorian Albert's.
Okay, are you ready for Victorian Albert's, Patrick?
I don't know, they got crazy stuff there.
Yeah, I know. To be honest, I probably wouldn't enjoy it that much because I'm not like an adventurous eater. I remember doing one of the Disney cruises, and they have really nice restaurants on the cruises, and I was pretty young at the time. I think I was like 13 or something, and some of the food they brought out, it was just like, oh my lord, do I really have to eat this? Just because it was like fancy food.
Random question, speaking of that. If you were ever on a Disney cruise, would you do the upcharge dinner?
What's the upcharge?
Like they have the normal restaurants, but then they have like upcharge ones that are like fancier. Like I know on one of them they have Remy's, which is like from Ratatouille. Okay,
I went on the Disney, I think it was the Disney Wonder, which I remember like one of the nicest ones was Lumiere's was the name of the restaurant, and from, if I'm remembering correctly, I was kind of a kid, so I'm sure I wasn't paying attention to this stuff, but I feel like at the time, this whole upcharge thing didn't exist, so we did them all. They actually assigned you to a restaurant per night, and the same waiter followed you from one to the next. And, so I'm not familiar with the upcharge. Would I do it? Probably not. I'm really not like that into, if I went to a restaurant like Remy's, I'd be much more interested in the atmosphere than I would the food. Like, I'm the type of guy that you take me to the Outback or, that Grand Floridian restaurant, and I'll probably enjoy the food at the Outback more. I'll probably enjoy the experience at the Grand Floridian more, but who knows? But it's interesting. I doubt I would do the upcharge, to be honest. I don't know. I'd probably walk in and pretend I was lost and be like, "Where's the little rat? Okay, I'm ready to leave." Although they do have, I think all of the ships have this cool restaurant, Animator's Palette. I could be getting the name wrong, something like that. Is that correct?
No,
yeah,
that's right. Yes, that is.
You go in the beginning of the night, and it's all black and white, and then by the end of the night, everything's transformed to color. That was a cool restaurant. I really liked that one. Anywho, we're running out of time, so let me ask you your question here. Earlier today, I had mentioned the height of the Tower of Terror at the Hollywood Studios is 199 feet. Now, there is one attraction at Walt Disney World that is taller than that. So which attraction and how tall?
Oh, man. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. It's taller than Tower of Terror?
It's taller than Tower of Terror. Now, I'll give you a hint. The Tower of Terror is 199 feet because if it were to hit 200 feet, they would need to put a blinking light on top for low-flying planes. Correct. So, it's not much taller than the Tower of Terror, but it is taller.
It's an attraction?
It's a ride. I mean, everything at Disney is an attraction. There are no rides. But yeah, it's a ride.
I'm gonna guess Expedition Everest.
You are correct. And how tall is it?
Whew. Let's see. I'm gonna guess it has to be, I think, if you said, I guess 200.
No, if it were 200, it would need the red blinking light. So it's 100.
It's like 199 and a half.
It's 199.5 feet. So very close to 199 and a half. Yeah. And that is the tallest attraction at Walt Disney World.
Huh.
Interesting, eh?
Yeah. Eh? I know, I think the castle is 196 or 7 as well, just because of that same factor of the blinking light.
I feel like your castle is I feel like that's just so huge every time I look at it. Like, even though it's even slightly smaller than the Tower of Terror or Mount Everest, I just look at the castle and I'm like, oh, that thing's massive. So, I love your castle so much. I wish we had a castle like that.
I know. I remember the first time I went to Disneyland and I walked in, I'm like, oh, where is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I have to walk a little bit more.
Yeah, and the first thing you see is the Matterhorn. You're like, oh, okay. Like, that's the thing for Magic Kingdom, from the freeway, you see Cinderella Castle. But for Disneyland, you see the Matterhorn and Space Mountain, and that's how you know you're getting to Disneyland.
Yeah.
But anywho, we're running out of time, so we got to sign off today. Patrick, till next time, have a fabulous, fabulous day. Everybody listening, please let us know what your favorite attractions are in the comment section, and keep tuning in to Disney Coast to Coast. I'll talk to you later.
It's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
Thanks for listening to Disney Coast to Coast. Have a magical day.